Hello, everyone. This is Harry. We've just received a significant new update directly from the president regarding the proposed $2,000 stimulus check, which he has repeatedly referred to as a $2,000 dividend payment. In an interview conducted yesterday with the New York Times, the president outlined when these payments may occur and, more importantly, revealed critical information about a potential executive order that could bypass Congress entirely. For over a year now, I've been closely covering low-income relief programs and government assistance initiatives, helping millions of families understand how these policies affect them. I have the article pulled up on screen so you can review the source material yourself. It's worth noting that for nearly 2 months, the president had remained largely silent on this issue while focusing on other priorities. That silence has now ended, and for the first time in weeks, we finally have concrete signals worth analyzing. Before we dive into the latest developments, some context is important. Roughly 2 months ago, on November 9th, the president first floated the idea of issuing a dividend of at least $2,000 per person, explicitly excluding high-income earners. The following day, he reinforced that message, clarifying that low- and middle-income individuals would be the primary beneficiaries. By mid-November, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent further narrowed the scope, indicating that eligibility would likely apply to individuals earning around $100,000 or less annually. Now, to be completely transparent with you, we still do not have an official proposal outlining the final eligibility criteria. No formal framework has been released by the administration. What we do know, based on historical precedent, is that eligibility will almost certainly hinge on 2 factors: a valid Social Security number and income level. That's consistent with every major relief program we've seen in recent years. Here's where yesterday's interview becomes especially significant. The president stated explicitly that he does not require congressional approval to move forward with this payment. Let me emphasize that point. He is asserting that Congress does not need to sign off. If that claim holds, it leaves only one viable mechanism: an executive order. This question, whether a president can authorize direct payments via executive action, has been heavily debated for months. Legal scholars are divided, but the growing consensus suggests that, under certain conditions, it may indeed be possible. If that's the case, it dramatically accelerates the timeline. As we all know, legislation can stall in Congress for months, even years, due to partisan gridlock. Executive action, by contrast, can move swiftly. Naturally, many of you are asking the same question: where does the money come from? Critics argue that the government simply doesn't have the funds. While it's true that the federal government carries approximately $38.5 trillion in debt, that argument oversimplifies reality. The government has multiple revenue streams: income taxes, tariffs, and other mechanisms. And as history shows, when policymakers decide to spend, they find a way to do so. Whether that approach is fiscally sound is a separate debate, but the idea that a lack of funds automatically prevents action does not hold up. Now, let's address the timing, because that's what everyone truly cares about. The president once again indicated that payments would arrive later this year. This isn't a new statement. He made similar remarks in mid-December. And frankly, it aligns with what many analysts have suspected all along. I'll pose a question for you to consider. Why might later this year realistically mean mid-October, just ahead of early November? I think most of us understand what occurs in November during even-numbered years. This isn't a partisan observation. Every administration employs similar strategies. It's simply how political incentives function. The real question is whether voters are willing to accept that dynamic if it results in tangible financial relief. As I said in a video roughly 10 days ago, 2026 is likely the decisive year. If this payment happens, it happens this year. If it doesn't, and barring a major recession, it may never happen at all. We are quite literally approaching the window's closing. There are roughly 10 months left to see whether this materializes. Based on what we currently know, eligibility would likely include individuals earning under $100,000 annually. The president has consistently emphasized low- and middle-income households as the intended beneficiaries. That includes single parents struggling to make ends meet, veterans on fixed incomes, Social Security and disability recipients, and individuals facing unemployment or underemployment. What remains unclear are the finer details. Whether the payment phases out gradually or cuts off abruptly, which tax year will be used for income verification, and whether dependents are included. If history is any guide, we might expect full payments for individuals earning under $75,000 and couples under $150,000, with phase-outs extending toward the $100,000 mark. There's also a strategic consideration worth discussing. If payments are delayed until mid-October, they may arrive too late to meaningfully influence public sentiment. Many people form opinions well before then. If approval ratings soften or polling shifts, the administration may be incentivized to move sooner, perhaps summer or early fall, to allow time for the financial impact to register emotionally with voters. Again, this isn't about ideology. It's about understanding political behavior so we can better anticipate outcomes. Now, here's what you should be doing while we wait. First, ensure your IRS information is current. File your 2024 taxes promptly, especially if you've moved or changed banking details. Second, do not put your financial life on hold waiting for this money. Too many people have been burned by promised payments that were delayed or never arrived. Continue applying for other assistance programs you may qualify for. Third, and this is critical for Medicare recipients, review your coverage. Tens of millions of people still have flexibility to change plans in early 2026, and many are overpaying unnecessarily. There are free resources available to help you evaluate your options and potentially save significant amounts each year. Finally, I want to be very clear with you. This payment is not guaranteed. Possibility is not the same as certainty. There are legal, budgetary, and political hurdles that remain unresolved. I hope this happens. But I would never advise you to build your financial plan around something that hasn't been formally approved. That said, I'm not dismissive of the likelihood either. The president continues to discuss it publicly. He's referencing executive authority. He's offering a rough timeline. Those are not the hallmarks of an idea quietly fading away. Even if this specific $2,000 payment doesn't materialize exactly as described, other forms of relief could emerge. Smaller payments, tax credits, or expanded benefit programs. Relief doesn't always arrive in the form we expect. We're still in early January 2026. A great deal can change. Economic conditions shift, political pressure builds, public demand matters. I won't hype you with false certainty. What I will do is give you the facts as they develop so you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. So let me ask you, do you think this payment actually happens? Yes or no? And when? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If this breakdown helped clarify what's really going on, consider liking the video and subscribing. I post frequent updates on stimulus policy, benefits, and cost-saving strategies. Share this with anyone still confused about the $2,000 payment. And remember, don't wait for money that may or may not come. Focus on what you can control today. I'm rooting for you, and I'll be here with updates as soon as official details emerge. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.